In a passionate speech at the Vatican late last month, Pope Francis vowed to combat sexual abuse in the Catholic Church, calling on bishops around the world to lead a, quote, all-out battle against the abuse of minors. The speech was the culmination of a historic four-day summit convened by the Pope in response to a series of scandals that have rocked the Church during his papacy. Abuse victims and their advocates had hoped that the summit would result in concrete steps to address the crisis. But the picture that came out of the meeting was ambiguous, and there now appear to be even more questions about what comes next for the Church and for victims of clerical abuse, past and present. And joining us now to talk about all this is Monsignor Jim Lasante, host of the weekly radio show, Personally Speaking, and pastor of Our Lady of Lourdes Church in Massapequa Park, Long Island. Monsignor Jim, thanks so much for joining us again.
Raphael, thanks for having me back.
So first of all, Monsignor, who took part in this unprecedented summit, and what was the summit's goal?
Each country has a Bishop's Leadership Council, if you will. We have one in America based in Washington, D.C. The president is Cardinal Donato from Houston. So all the heads of the bishops in each country of the world came together to talk about what do we do next.
And the goal was to try to find out what to do next, as simple as that?
What to do next, to look back to and see what kind of responsibility do we have to fix the past, and we have a lot of responsibility. It's interesting, in your introduction, too, we talked about this being a Francis problem, but actually, Francis has inherited the problem.
Yeah.
We've made John
it
Paul
exploded during his tenure.
Right now, it's all exploded on his watch, but John Paul II, Benedict, before him, Paul VI, John the 23rd, these worst cases go back 40 and 50 years.
Some 70, as we saw in Pennsylvania.
And actually, happily, since the year 2000, the numbers have actually gone down, but we're paying for the crimes of the past.
From what I read initially, the summit was intended to deal not only with the abuse of minors, but also with the abuse of and sexual harassment of young adults, such as seminarians and young priests, something that came glaringly to light when the case of former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick became public. You know, he apparently was a serial predator of seminarians and young priests for decades. Why was that left out?
The issue is not just the abuse done to children by some very, very ill priests, but I think we're also talking about the cover-up, and that's what the Church has to confront. A guy like Cardinal McCarrick didn't get to be a cardinal without people knowing what was going on. So for him to be named an auxiliary bishop in New York, then Bishop of Metuchen, then Archbishop of Newark, then Cardinal Archbishop of Washington, D.C., there were certainly people who knew this was a man with a problem. You know that over 10 years ago, a guy at Fox News said to me he had enough information on the Cardinal to blow the whistle. If 10 years ago people in the media knew, then this was an open secret. So why then did the Church allow the cover-up to go on? I think that's one of the big issues for Pope Francis.
Right. Yeah, so the summit focused on the sexual abuse of minors in the Church. What did it concretely accomplish, do you think?
I think, if anything, it's just Francis saying, look, the buck does stop here and we've got to do something about it. This isn't one of those issues where you can PR it and it's going to go away. If we don't change our ways and also in some ways address the past and correct what went wrong. For example, if a bishop was responsible for covering up, there's got to be some accountability. You know, in that Dallas Charter that they came up with early in the century, we priests were certainly called on the carpet and said, you do it once, you're out. But there was nothing in there, nothing
the bishops were
responsibility for the bishops who were covering up. So it's got to be a consistent ethic.
And by the way, who was one of the leading architects of that?
Ted McCarrick.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a coincidence, right?
What a shock.
You know, so the Pope's closing remarks, everyone agrees that at the summit that there were powerful words, very powerful, condemning child abuse of minors in and outside of the Church. But many critics, including victims of abuse, were disappointed. They said that they'd heard tough talk before and that they wanted to see concrete actions such as, I think you've touched on some of them, the establishment of a procedure to hold bishops accountable, independent of the bishops, and so few Catholic faithful, let's face it, have confidence that the bishops can police themselves anymore. The public naming and defrocking of bishops known to have protected pedophiles, or who have abused people themselves, young or young adults. The opening of the Vatican archives and the handing over of relevant documents to civil authorities. These are just things that I've called from various critics. And here in America, there was a call and there was a hope that there would finally be a real investigation of the McCarrick case to find out, as you said.
How did it happen?
How could this man rise so high when so many people knew that he was a predator?
And I'll add one more there. Somewhere along the line, we've got to address the involvement of women more in the leadership of the Church. I'll give you an example. Every diocese has a personnel board that places priests, whatever their assignment may be. I've thought to myself through this scandal, can you imagine if we had just one mother on every personnel board who would hear, wait a second, Father X did this in this town, and you're going to move him to that town? He touched kids, and you're going to move? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
A woman, a mother, would say, no, if he hurt kids, you don't put him in a new assignment. We don't use women appropriately, which is to let them speak, let their wisdom speak to the future of the church. So I would hope one of the things that comes out of this, and I think Francis is open to this, is greater involvement by women in the life of the church.
But how come the last day of the summit didn't have a list of these things? What I mentioned and what you've just mentioned, why didn't they say, okay, this is what we're going to do from now on, no more emotional words?
I would like to see that too. I don't know why it didn't happen. I'll say this too, though. We're looking for one size fits all when it comes to the church. A lot of people say, wouldn't it be great if they came out of this conference and every priest who ever did anything wrong removed, any bishop removed. But one of the priests from Nigeria said to me recently, you know, in America you have due process. If someone is brought forth with a crime, there's going to be a process. He said, if we have a guy in our village who's responsible for hurting kids, we take him outside the village and we may end his life. He said, the law and order that you people are used to in Europe and America is not universal, so one size doesn't fit all. And I think Francis is conscious of the fact that there are parts of the world where child abuse isn't just a crime that will remove you from the priesthood, it could be a death sentence.
Okay.
So he's dealing with the poor Francis, God bless him.
As you know better than anyone, the thing that makes the church powerful, it's its moral authority. Without its moral authority, as you alluded to,
which is
it's got no power.
Right.
It's got no power. Do you think this summit in any way contributed to increasing or giving a rebirth to that?
It's a first step back, but you know, we don't have the power that we used to have because it is the power of persuasion. And I go back to what I said to you a moment ago. If you look through the Gospels, the consistent sin that Jesus mentions is not about stealing, it's not about sexuality, it's about hypocrisy. And the church's great sin is that we have been hypocrites. We've been saying one thing and practicing another. You know, for instance, our teaching on the ethic of life, the consistent ethic of life, from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death, life is sacred. But if you're not protecting the kids, then you don't mean it. And Jesus himself says, woe to the man who hurts the little ones. Better a millstone should be tied around his neck and he'd be thrown into the river. How then do you, in the name of Jesus, not defend the kids?
So are you optimistic? Are you optimistic that the church will do what it needs to be done?
Because we're talking about it. We're talking about it. It won't go away. The victims groups are keeping us very much active in terms of not making this thing be buried under the carpet. But I know the church, like any human institution, can say, okay, we've managed this, now we can go on. But we need changes. One of the things I hope will come out of this is a true discussion about a clergy that's both married and celibate. I'd like to see us obviously involve women more than we have. These are just some steps. We have diaconate there, married men out there. Why can't they be pastors soon if we really have this shortage in America, which we do? There are steps we can take, Raphael. My big thing is let's hold our feet to the fire and not back off. This isn't a passing problem. This can be a problem forever unless we truly address it and purge ourselves of hypocrisy.
All right, Monsignor. Well, thank you so much for joining us to talk.
Thanks for having me, Raphael.